Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we've got a special guest and that's Daniel, the CEO of Invictus Capital. So how are you going, Daniel?
Hi, it's great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Time zone differences, I think you're in South Africa at the moment, is that right? Or
We are, GMT +2, so
Awesome.
11 a.m. But yeah, it's good.
So you guys manage the Crypto20 Index Fund, which we're going to talk about, and you're also launching another fund, which we're going to mention as well. But what's your background? How
Mhm.
did you get into crypto and what led to the Crypto20 Fund?
So originally, I got involved in crypto around 2010. A friend of mine who was really into infosec um, had come, upon Bitcoin and was trying to convert, all of his friends to get into it. I thought it was a really interesting concept, and the community back then was really different. It was kind of just crypto anarchists and guys that were involved in infosec generally, trying to come up with this new, disruptive payment methodology. But so we got involved in mining it back then. I remember mining about 1 Bitcoin a day, but it was worth only around $1 a day back then. So it didn't really give us any lasting benefit, I guess. So we kind of left it and decided instead of having our graphics cards run 24 hours a day, we'd play StarCraft or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and then how did that lead into the fund and getting people to invest in those top 20 assets? And how does that fund work in terms of what it invests in and rebalancing?
So we had I started the world's first licensed Bitcoin sportsbook and casino around 2014. And from there, that was acquired by Cloudbet in Hong Kong. And we decided essentially to look at what exists in the real financial world and what could be replicated into the Bitcoin world. A lot of these kind of products already existed in terms of the infrastructure. And after some investigation, we realized there isn't actually any real financial services products. There was no index fund at the time, and investing obviously in something as volatile as Bitcoin or crypto in general, one thing you can do to try and protect your capital is to diversify. So that was the general thesis behind developing an index fund. Obviously, holding it in a single token is much easier for people than having 20 in their wallet, which is also kind of untenable. Um, and we use data science to determine the optimal parameters. The number of coins in the fund, how often it's rebalanced, and the asset cap, which is 10%.
Awesome. I'll just bring it up on the screen quickly for people that aren't aware, but the Crypto 20 or Seed
Sure.
20 token has these 20 assets here, guys, and the percentage terms. I think the max weight's 10%. So at the moment, there's a couple that are slightly over that, and they'll get rebalanced at the end of the month. Anything else to add to that, Daniel? It's pretty basic in how it works, but it actually saves people that maybe don't want to do that all themselves a fair bit of time.
Yeah, so we keep all the assets in cold storage. It's only what's necessary to be moved to exchange during the rebalance period. And so far, it has outperformed both Bitcoin and the total crypto market cap. We just released our second quarterly report yesterday, so the fund's been operational for full 6 months now. And another benefit that people might often overlook is that we do stake the relevant coins, proof of stake coins in the top 20 for you. And for example, to stake Dash, that does cost, around $1 million worth of Dash. So it's not something that an average investor would be able to do by themselves. But obviously, by investing in this index fund, it gives you the benefit of that. So we stake Neo, Dash, and Stellar, and we also collect and claim and sell all the relevant forks that come in. So all of that income is generated for the fund.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about legislation a bit later, but that's almost like a dividend paying fund on top of the fastest growing asset class in the world. So, pretty attractive for people. The next question I had was in regards to managed funds and index funds. So, it's a trend that we'll talk about how it works in the crypto space, but just in general, are you noticing that people are sort of saying, well, hold on, why am I paying all these fees when we can get good index funds now? And what are the fees for the Crypto20 fund?
So our fees are only 0.5% per annum, compared to the average competitor in the market, which is charging something like 3%, which goes all the way up to, I mean, if you're looking at a hedge fund style crypto fund, which is in general, if you're a regular accredited investor and you're investing with cash, fiat in US dollars, generally the fee structure is that of a hedge fund, which is 2% annual management fees and 20% performance fees, which can be quite significant. And our fees of just 0.5% per annum, I think, exemplifies our goal to be the vanguard of crypto. We want to offer a diverse range of low-cost funds that aren't exploitative just because people want to get into crypto now, and that we offer real value. Even just the staking and the forks in the last quarter exceeded the management fees.
And no exit fees or no brokerage fees either, I believe. Yeah, fantastic. Do you notice that a lot of people sort of go chasing those new altcoins and ICOs a little bit? Now, you guys are launching a new fund to try and give people exposure to the best ICOs, and that has a number of benefits for the little guy that can't even get access to pools and whatever. But do you think for someone that's just getting started, they often overlook that this space is still very early, and just having skin in the game in the top 20, might perform better than someone that tries and pick random coins that all end up, failing in the future?
Yeah, the diverse approach is generally best. I mean, risk adjusted, even without the risk adjustment, it outperforms Bitcoin in the total market cap. Yeah. But when you're looking at all the individual coins and you're trying to take a bet, obviously taking a bet across a wider range of essentially startups, ICOs are. Yeah. So if you're investing in startups in the traditional venture capital space, and you look at their model, they invest in 100 and only expect one to really make it. And that kind of makes their whole fund. So I don't think that we should expect it to be too different with ICOs, but in general, you can get liquidity earlier on, and you can even get, sort of an exit to your investment at a profit soon after listing in some cases, yeah, which is quite different from traditional venture capital. So there are quite a few benefits to just investing in tokens.
And the new fund that you're launching, I think the ticker's IHF, the Hyperion Fund, that's going to have more of a focus on those ICOs. And we've now got, I think the stat was 1,000 ICOs a month that are now launching. So how do you guys, what's the process to look for the best ones?
So we've got a couple of proprietary tools that we utilize, and we've obviously done a lot of data science work based on which industries perform the best in terms of raise and performance after the ICO. We've also got the free Titan AI tool, which was developed to allow people to upload white papers and identify if there is any plagiarized content. So every time somebody uploads a white paper, it gets added to our corpus of documents, and it searches through all the other documents, and it can find it's a plagiarism. It doesn't have to be identical text. It can be very similar phrases, synonyms, etc., and the machine learning algorithm will pick that up.
Fantastic.
So our general process for identifying the ICO is obviously looking at the team, the commercials behind it, the deal. We often try and negotiate for a percentage of raise as opposed to just tokens and a bonus on the tokens to mitigate risk, especially in this kind of a market. And if it's in a serious kind of dip, as we are at the moment, we often look for ICOs or pre-sales that are denominated in that currency, in Bitcoin or ETH, because even if we invest in Bitcoin or ETH, it's not an immediate loss on that sort of crypto that we're holding. If ETH triples in price, it doesn't affect us at all.
Yeah. And just in general, in the market, what stage do you think we're at? And also in the ICO market, I know in the pre-interview was saying that the amount that funds are raising has actually increased the last few months, so things are on the rise?
Yeah, in general, I think things are maturing quite a bit. People are looking towards more serious projects, and I don't think it's as easy to kind of get away with just a white paper. Nowadays, I think the investors are demanding formal legal structures. They're demanding the team to be, present and accountable, and for there to be some kind of MVP. It definitely gives people a bit of peace of mind if they see that there is some sort of working product that they can test out.
Now, we're going to talk about regulation. It's a pretty hot topic at the moment, particularly for ICOs. So, how have you guys found it? In Australia, for example, do you need the appropriate AFSL, or how's that regulation work in each different jurisdiction?
It varies quite a bit based on every country's security laws, essentially. In the Cayman Islands, where we're domiciled, a token would have to confer equity rights to be considered a security, regardless of what method it uses to, pay out, whether that be dividends or buying and burning, etc. Yeah. So, as in general, tokens don't confer equity rights. These tokens are all considered utility tokens in the Cayman's jurisdiction. Obviously, that varies country by country. Like in the US, it might be considered a security. And as such, you just need to be quite careful of which citizens you do allow into your ICO.
Yeah. But once it's freely trading, there's no, on a decentralized exchange or a centralized exchange, a US investor could still buy that then, and it's up to them, or how does that side of things sort of work?
They could, but they can't redeem it directly through us. A US investor wouldn't be able to access the liquidation function. They need to KYC for that, and we wouldn't process the KYC of US citizens. So in terms of redemption, with a traditional ETF, they wouldn't be able to access that functionality.
Awesome. Well, mate, I've enjoyed chatting today. Any final thoughts? How far away is that fund? We'll put all the links in the description below, guys, if you want more details.
So the Invictus Hyperion Fund is, the ICO is complete. We're launching on exchanges most likely next month. So we'll be announcing that. Yeah, the Crypto20 quarterly report, the second quarterly report, is now available on our Medium. So that's medium.crypto20.com. And we'll be releasing further information about our investments in the Hyperion Fund. We've currently got 3, I think, DAV, Lightstreams, and Noya. And we've got quite a few more coming up that we'll sort of release our DD reports, due diligence reports about before listing on exchange. So I think things are generally looking exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to the SEC's decision on August 10th about the Bitcoin ETF, because if that does come through, then that's definitely a very bullish signal. I'd expect to see some solid gains if that was the case.
I agree. Fingers crossed. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Daniel. I hope we talk again in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, mate.